Italy beat England 3-2 on penalties in the final of the Euro 2020 competition to culminate what has been an impressive 3-year campaign by one of the best teams in Europe. It's almost impossible to conceive that Italy missed out on the 2018 World Cup for the first time in 60 years, just 3 years ago. And from that abyss, they have come back to win Euro 2020. So how did they go from here to here? After the inconceivable happened in 2018 at the FIFA World Cup in Russia, with Italy missing out after getting knocked out in the qualifying stages, they had to make some significant changes to their coaching staff immediately. They turned to Roberto Mancini, who had recently left Manchester City after winning the English Premier League title. Mancini had to prove that the English Premier League title wasn't a one-off, and Italy needed a solid coach with years of experience that can take them back to the helm of European football. So how did Mancini start to rebuild this Italian side? In this video, we're going to look at the players, the tactics, and how their performance evolved to the Euro 2020 competition to them eventually winning the championship. So let's start with the tactics, which is Mancini's strongest suit. Italy play in a 4-3-3 formation, but you might not necessarily know it by watching them. Their left wing back gallops up the pitch as their left winger cuts inside, giving both their attacking shape and subsequent defensive shape much more of a 3-5-2 look most of the time. At the heart of the tactics lie the players. Gianluigi Donnarumma has been very solid in goal and is backed up veteran defender Leonardo Bonucci and Giorgio Chiellini, who have started almost every game for Italy since 2018. Inter's Alessandro Bastoni and Lazio's Francesco Acerbi are the most likely replacements for the centre-backs. Italy's build-up structure means that their right back is much more involved in moving the ball out from the back than the high-flying left back, and that right-sided role has been contested between PSG's Florenzi and Napoli's Di Lorenzo. The left wing-back spot has been constantly held by Spinazzola, who has been very important to Italy's tactical formation. His high position on the left means that he rarely actually plays like a left back, and that the actual left winger Lorenzo Insigne drifts inside. The right winger meanwhile usually holds more width and a lower defensive position, and Domenico Berardi has firmly made up that position despite stern competition from Federico Chiesa. Chiesa had an excellent Euro 2020 as well, providing strength in depth for the Italian team. And up top, Ciro Immobile leads the line. The midfield three, however, has been the most imperative unit to Italy's success, and has been led by Inter's Nicolo Barella, Champions League winner Jorginho, and Sassuolo's Locatelli. The balance of the midfield three is particularly key to allowing all the other facets of the team to continue playing attacking and free-flowing football. Barella is normally the more adventurous one, darting forward, pressing high and creating chances, but Locatelli has also shown incredible intelligence in getting forward at the right moments. The Sassuolo man is however more likely to stay with Jorginho as a sort of midfield pivot and provide defensive solidity and cover behind Spinazzola. Their free-flowing attacking football has meant that Italy have become one of the fastest counter-attacking teams in European football with a really direct upfield speed. They've also improved significantly on their passes per sequence since their exit from the World Cup qualifying in 2018. And this is where Mancini has brought together the team considerably well. Based on the tactics, Mancini's next step was to gather the right personnel to ensure that the tactical formation is successful. At the heart of this has been Spinazzola. He has been very influential for the Italian team with a strong attacking presence on the left. Not surprisingly, most of Italy's attacks come from the left-hand side versus the right, and this has resulted in a vast improvement for Roberto Mancini, where the number of goals per game has increased from below 2 to above 2. They have started increasing their shots per game and goals per game significantly since 2018. They have also improved significantly on their defensive clean sheet and goals conceded. Not surprisingly, one of their most used players is Jorginho, who has played almost every game since 2018 for the Italian team, followed by Leonardo Bonucci, Donnarumma, Barella and Insigne. These players have formed the nucleus of the team. Mancini now boasts of the best win ratio amongst all of the ex-Italian managers after playing more than 20 games. His win ratio is very close to 67%, which means he wins 2 out of 3 games. He's also stayed unbeaten in his first 15 home matches with Italy. So let's look at how Italy performed in the build-up to Euro 2020. They started off with the UEFA Nations League, and in the qualifying stages they were very impressive in the group that included Finland, Armenia, Bosnia, Greece and Liechtenstein. They won all of their games, picking up maximum points in the group stages, which guaranteed them a place in Euro 2020. They ended up in Group A of Euro 2020 with Turkey, Wales and Switzerland. They won their opening game, their second game and their third game in impressive fashion, leaving them at the top of the table with automatic qualification as group winners. They played Austria in the round of 16 in a hardly contested game. In the quarterfinals, they faced a much tougher opponent, probably one of the best teams in Europe along with Italy, Belgium. And at Soccerspective, we had predicted earlier that either Belgium or Italy would eventually win the competition, as they were two of the strongest teams left in the competition at the time, having stayed unbeaten through qualifying and through the group stages. Italy eventually overcame Belgium and ended up playing Spain in the semi-finals. Spain had not had a very good tournament up until then, but managed to scrape their way up until the semi-final. It was a very hard-fought game which could have gone either way, but Italy did manage to come out on top. In the final, Italy played England, with both teams having impressed throughout the entire competition in Euro 2020. After beating England on penalties in the final, Italy's longest unbeaten run was stretched to 34 games, which is one of the longest unbeaten runs that Italy has ever had in international football. This also means that Italy have now scored 74 goals in the last 30 odd games and only conceded 7 goals, which is a very impressive record. 34 games without defeats is a record that Italy will be extremely proud of, and it takes them very close to the longest ever unbeaten runs from a national team. Only Brazil and Spain have gone 35 matches without a defeat. Brazil did so back in 1996 and Spain did so in late 2000s. One of the other factors that led to Italy's success in Euro 2020 is that they were one of the teams that traveled the least compared to all the other competitors playing in the competition. This meant that they had longer rest periods, less travel, and more time in between games to practice and recover. So starting with the coach Roberto Mancini, who has spent a lot of time getting the right players in the right position and coming up with the most effective tactics of this Italian team that are seamless in attack and defense, you can say that Italy thoroughly deserved their victory in Euro 2020. Bear in mind, it's no small feat to go from not qualifying for the World Cup in 2018 to winning the European Championship in 2021. In a matter of 3 years, Mancini has proved that he's a master tactician and one of the best coaches in world football, and he has thereby completed the Italian job.